So thanks all for coming. I think it's been a very worthwhile morning's discussion with a lot of useful insights from a lot of different perspectives, which is really the whole point of the summit, and is also really the essence of why MDTs are what cancer management is really all about. So I think to summarise what we've done so far and what we've got so far, and then from what we've discovered today, I think we can say that we are improving the care of patients with pancreas cancer. Ultimately our survival is improving marginally, but is improving. Our particularly surgical mortality is world class. The majority of our patients who we are intending to treat with curative intent are being given systemic therapy. And really we have a lot to be proud of, and I think our outcomes are world class. So I think that's the good. Not so much the bad, but I think the areas that we can improve have really been identified well and in a broad sort of range of areas. And I think it's actually very good that we've sort of come to these three very disparate but equally important components of care for patients with pancreas cancer. I think, identifying a deficiency in systemic treatment is important. Identifying deficiencies in discussion of ultimate treatment planning in a broader sense, and then specifically the recognition that we don't have good not so much buy-in, but relationships at the ground level with our palliative care physicians, I think really gives us three strong areas to work on into the future. I think these areas are well chosen because they are areas which we can address. They are specific numerical deficiencies which can be reassessed in 3 years and 5 years to see the number of patients who are getting systemic therapy when treated with curative intent, and the numbers who are being presented in MDTs. And we'll have some data about, hopefully in the future, about palliative care interactions. And I think we haven't spoken so much about it, but we've touched on it, but really engaging patients and the ultimate consumer of this, in this context about where they do want their final days and where they do want their palliative care delivered, is another very important area for us to focus on. So I'll thank you for your attendance and your involvement. As I started by saying, this is an ongoing process, and the Working Party will take on board what has been discussed and try and make forward progress in this. And this has just been the opportunity presented to you, and is by no means the end of the story. It's really just looking at what we know and getting future directions, and I think we've done that well. So thank you again for your involvement, and thanks again to Luke and Ella in particular for all of the data that they put together, and Morella and Amy and Megan for the project support, and to the rest of the working group for all of your work previously, and everybody here today for your work today. So with that, I'll thank you very much.